Hello, everyone. Today I'm in conversation with Izzy Crawford, who is going to talk to us about Indigenous peoples and COIL. Before we get stuck in, Izzy, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Izzy Crawford and I am the lead partner for something called COIL UArctic, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today.
What is UArctic, the University of the Arctic, Izzy? Because it's not a traditional university in the sense that we imagine one. Tell us about the structure and tell us about this institution.
Sure. So the University of the Arctic, which is UArctic, is a network of universities, colleges, research institutes, and other organisations who are all concerned with education and research in and about the North. So UArctic develops knowledge to address local and global challenges which are of relevance to Arctic peoples and societies by providing unique educational research and innovation opportunities through collaboration within a powerful network of member institutions. And there are 199 members, 64 thematic networks, and 149 north to north exchanges. And that was in 2023. And the motto for UArctic is "with shared voices."
So, Izzy, you've talked about the structure of this university and that it focuses on the issues relevant to peoples of the North. What are some of those? I mean, the obvious thing that springs to mind to me, and I'm not an expert, is climate change, ice melting, that sort of thing. Tell us more.
Absolutely right. Yeah. So, why does the Arctic matter? The Arctic is where we see the strongest impacts of the climate change today. So, while the Arctic has just a fraction of a percent of the world's population, it contributes nearly 20% of many globally important resources, such as minerals, energy, fish, fresh water, and the most pristine nature, which illustrates its interdependence with the rest of the globe. So the Arctic is a vital region for the world, and UArctic has a key role in ensuring that those outside the region understand northern realities.
Mm. And it's made up of many partners and members. Are all those partners in the north, or is it just a mixture of
Yes.
universities who are interested?
So we have partners that are within the Arctic Circle region, but we also have many partners who are further south, but still within the Northern Hemisphere, if that makes
Right.
sense. So Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen, Scotland, where I work, is not in the Arctic Circle, but we are member of UArctic. So it's far reaching, but it also has very strong relationships and connections with other parts of the world, the Southern Hemisphere. I'm thinking about the Himalayan Universities Consortium, for example. UArctic has had conferences in Japan, and so it's a global kind of outlook, but it's focusing on Arctic-related issues and trying
Which
to get
affect us all
everybody
really,
involved.
don't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all affected.
But
Um, Here at Uni Collaboration, our focus is very much on virtual exchange or COIL, which are used interchangeably, really. So at the University of the Arctic, tell us more about the role of COIL for Indigenous education at the University of the Arctic.
sure. So in 2024, April last year, UArctic endorsed a new thematic network, which has a very long title, which is the Thematic Network for Collaborative Online International Learning and Biodiversity Education across the Arctic region. And we thought probably that's not the most memorable name, so we've shortened it to COIL at UArctic. So hopefully people can find that a bit more accessible. And what COIL at UArctic is intended to do is to make it easier for students in countries in the north and the south, all around the globe, to connect together on COIL projects which are designed to address some of the challenges associated with the Arctic region. Um,
Mm.
so global warming, in fact, most of the UN Sustainable Development Goals would come into that kind of umbrella. And wherever you might live in the world, the UN SDGs are something that we're all fairly familiar with and something that students will probably have to consider at some point during their course. So it's very interdisciplinary in nature. And so COIL works very well as a pedagogical approach for allowing students to collaborate virtually, because physical mobility, particularly in regions like the Arctic, is challenging.
Challenging.
Um,
Yes.
so it democratizes mobility for students by allowing people who perhaps wouldn't be able to afford to do physical study abroad to have some kind of intercultural contact, experience during their university or college course. Um, it also helps with all those traditional group work skills, transferable skills that we know group work develops that employers love, things like teamwork, coping with time zone
Mm.
differences,
That's
um,
a classic one. Yes.
yes, intercultural sensitivity, digital competency, empathy, interpersonal communication skills, all of those things. So it's quite good from an employability perspective as well, because many students who graduate now are entering into a global workplace.
Of course.
So having been exposed to other countries, other cultures at uni is a good, safe place to start. Um, and so for the UArctic, obviously the Sustainable Development Goals are a critical part. And so many of the COIL projects we do will be focused on those kind of issues. So we felt it was really important right at the beginning when we were creating this COIL network to ensure that we designed it with an Indigenous people's perspective in mind. And so we employed an Indigenous consultant who helped us to develop within the website a fantastic resource, which includes a very comprehensive introduction to Indigenous peoples, definitions, different languages and lands, um, communities, Indigenous knowledge. It covers things like colonialization and settler colonialism. It covers Indigenous sovereignty and the rights of Indigenous peoples, the regional colonial policy context, and just general understanding of the history, culture, and Indigenous knowledge. And it also includes a reading list and various academic considerations. And over and above that, Heather's our consultant, also produced some resources around the ethical considerations of teaching and research with Indigenous peoples. So things like building an ethical partnership, co-production of knowledge and what that actually means and how to create
Yeah.
it, ethical knowledge sharing and data sovereignty, verbal communication and language, and written style guides. So there's so much there, and it really, for me, is just to encourage anyone who's interested to come and have a look at what our Indigenous consultant Heather has created there, because it has value beyond COIL. I feel it's kind
Well,
of
it
an
sounds a very
education.
rich resource, multi-layered and fantastic. You mentioned the COIL module started about a year ago. Are you able to give us an idea of the impact or how they've gone so far?
Yes, so we were formally endorsed as a thematic network in April last year. And I should also mention that I didn't do it in isolation. I was supported by some incredible partners, other people who are members of UArctic, who helped to set up the network. And since then, we have run several training webinars for UArctic partners, all about COIL. We have created a space on the website where anyone who wants to do a COIL project can post a profile about themselves, about the kind of COIL project they'd like to do, and then hopefully get matched up with some partners. And we also have been running some really good COIL projects as well. One in particular, to give you an example, is called,
Yes, give us an
yeah,
example.
sure. It's called the Yellow Tulip Project. So the Yellow Tulip Project is a project, a charitable initiative, which is designed to address the stigma associated with mental ill health. And I met Suzanne Fox, who runs that organisation, at a UArctic conference last year. And we thought, wouldn't it be a good idea to run a COIL project with students in campuses around the world where they're connecting around this issue and looking at how we can address the stigma of mental ill health on university and college campuses. And so we've just started that this year. And it's early days, so I just think there's lots of opportunity for anyone who wants to get involved in doing a COIL project on Arctic related issues and more broadly, any of the topics associated with the Sustainable Development Goals. Please reach out to me if they want to know more.
How do people get in touch with you? I can put your contact on our website, but if you'd like to tell us.
That would be great because we're always looking to engage more people in what we're doing, collaborative online international learning, and looking for ways to partner up different universities and courses. So the best way to contact me is probably by email in the first instance. So my contact details will be posted on this video, but it's i.c.crawford@rgu.ac.uk. So I'm based at Robert Gordon University in Scotland, but you can also find me on LinkedIn as well, Izzy Crawford, and you'll see some of the work that I do there as well.
Okay. So maybe you'll come back and talk to us further down the line when more impact results can
Yes,
be shared, and it'd be
I'd
really
love
lovely
to.
to catch up again. Is there anything else you'd like to add about COIL and Indigenous education before I let you go?
I think one of the key points I'd probably make is that it's critical virtual exchange is an emerging area within the broader COIL theoretical kind of body of knowledge, if you like. And Miriam, who works with Uni Collaboration, is really the world leader in terms of the academic research that's happening here. And this is going to be a particularly important part of what COIL at UArctic does, ensuring that whatever we do with COIL is not just taking an existing model and imposing it into other parts of the world, but actually rethinking and reimagining how we do collaborative online international learning in a co-produced manner, and ensuring that any tools we introduce, like AI, for example, into a COIL project are not going to disadvantage or disempower the voices of people who might be otherwise excluded from doing this kind of activity. So it's trying to take a critical approach to what we're doing at all times to improve and enhance the way that we do COIL.
Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing that.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.